Council's position on journalism, the right to journalism, the right to activism. But again, I am not going to be doing that in this video. What I want to move to now is another modus operandi that the Irish government and the United States government, so UK, Northern Ireland, US, use when they are putting victims through transnational repression. And that is the email trap. And what is the email trap? I haven't given it official name because currently I'm not researching it. I'm just talking about it. But essentially it's where the authorities, the intelligence agencies, and the cybersecurity agencies are instructing lawyers, solicitors, human rights organizations, politicians, social community groups. They're instructing all of these persons to tell you to send all of your communications via email. And why do they do that? Well, there are a couple of reasons why they do that. First, that allows them to have control over the communication. So if you communicate via email, then they can do a number of things. One, they can read the communication and respond to it. So in order to read it or respond to it, or, well, if they read it, they don't necessarily have to intercept it, but to respond to the communication, there is a process of where they intercept the communication. If the authorities or the organizations or the solicitors don't allow them access to the email account, in some instances, the authorities, the solicitors, the groups, the organizations will hand over access to their email accounts and allow the state agents and the cybersecurity agents to use the email accounts to send you communications. And so what does that do? That allows them to control the narrative and to control the communication. If they are communicating with you, then they can actually stop you from receiving justice. They can stop you from being able to communicate with a real person who has the authority to stop their illegal behavior and respond in a way that neutralizes your complaints. That way they can wear you out by attrition. And so as I have undergone transnational repression for a number of years, the primary statement that I have been given is send an email, and it seems pretty forceful and coercive. Send an email, communicate via email. And to reiterate, the reason why they want to communicate via email is because that gives them control over the communication. That gives them control over sending you communications, because sometimes these cybersecurity agencies, these intelligence agencies will communicate with you directly, sending you the communication, pretending to be the solicitors, or pretending to be the organization, or pretending to be the human rights organization, or pretending to be the social community, communicating with you directly. And there is a technical term for this. This is called man-in-the-middle attack. It's essentially where the cybersecurity agency or the intelligence agency will capture the communication, intercept it, insert themselves within as a party to that communication. And while you're thinking that you're communicating with organization B or solicitor C or human rights organization D, you are really actively communicating with this intelligence agency. They're able to capture all those communications, respond to them as if that you're responding to, you know, this actual organization or the solicitor that you that you believe that you've contacted. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there is a way in which they do this with phone calls as well. But the most important thing that differentiates a phone call from an email is that with a phone call, you get to hear a voice over the phone. And you get to hear a person claiming that they're with an organization, or claiming that they're with a solicitor's office, or claiming that they are the Human Rights Commission, or claiming that they are with a social community. And you get to hear that, and that gives you a level of transparency and accountability, whereas with an email, you don't, because at any time, all of these bodies can say, well, we didn't send that communication, or they could agree that their email accounts were hacked as well. And so they didn't communicate with you. But when you're communicating with them over the phone, there is a voice, a person on the other end that you're talking to, claiming to be from organization A, claiming to be from organization C, claiming to be the solicitors, claiming to be the human rights bodies. And so there's a level of responsibility there, and that is your evidence. And so my recommendation for anyone who is undergoing transnational repression is to not communicate via email. Don't communicate via email as it relates to personal confidential communications. Now, you can communicate via email if you are engaging in benign communications. Like, say, for instance, you want to go to a party or go to a discussion and you need to know the time and date. Yes, you're likely going to receive that. That is, it's safe to communicate that way. Or if you're sending communications that are benign in a way that is not calling attention to transnational repression, then all of those communications are likely going to be safe. But any communication where you are trying to reach out to other journalists, you're trying to communicate to human rights bodies, you're trying to file complaints, the authorities are in the business of intercepting these kinds of complaints. And so you may ask, well, Quianna, when is a safe time to communicate via email? And I would say a very safe time to communicate via email is when you have legal representation. And when you have solicitors or an organization that understands what is going on and is going to hold the authorities to account. But before then, before you secure legal representation, it is really not advisable for you to communicate via email, for you to send any confidential communications via email. These confidential communications can be altered to tell a different narrative and to put a different story, to put out a different story and to discredit you. So it's not safe for you to communicate via email. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you think about this discussion regarding transnational repression. I will get this uploaded at some point this week. If you have any comments or if you'd like to have a discussion about transnational repression, I'm open to having that discussion. I have reached out to the Foreign Policy Center on a number of occasions to try and have a discussion about transnational repression. I'm not sure if they're being coerced by the UK, Irish, US authorities to not engage in this, or if that's a decision that they've made on their own. I'm not sure, but the further this goes on, the further we'll know the truth. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk to you next time. Bye-bye.